Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, a homegoing service for the Haitian migrants who perished in waters off Abaco last week. 4 men murdered in one bloody weekend.
Parents at C.W. Sawyer say they are still very concerned about the school's environment.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. The local Haitian community burying 22 of their own yesterday after the Haitian embassy in the Bahamas held an emotionally charged funeral for the migrants who died in waters off Abaco on February 2nd. The funeral, which was attended by more than 200 people, marked the end of a treacherous and deadly journey for those migrants. Jasmine Brown reports.
Those victims arrived here at the auditorium shortly before 1 p.m. as they were escorted through the city with a police escort in coffins on this flatbed truck. Tears, screams, and uncontrollable wailing. That was the emotional scene throughout Sunday's 2-hour funeral service as mourners said goodbye to those who lost their lives in waters off Abaco when their sloop ran aground just over a week ago. 31 bodies were recovered after the tragedy. Officials said 9 were in such poor condition that they could not make it to New Providence and were instead buried in Abaco. The National Emergency Management Agency has said 83 people were on board the boat at the time of the incident, leaving 34 people unaccounted for. But the focus of the memorial were those who did not end up in a watery grave, as mourners packed the auditorium, leaving standing room only. Dozens of people stood wherever they could find space. At the front of the auditorium, it was a somber scene as 22 matching coffins for the nameless victims were lined up in 4 rows and adorned with Haitian flags and bouquets of flowers. The service was organized and funded by the Haitian embassy. Haitian Chargé Francois J. Michel reflected on the fact that the migrants completed their journey but were not alive to see its end.
Today is a sad day for all of us. We are burying 28 of our brothers and sisters who died in the waters. Who was seeking a better life and searching for a better life, they found death.
Members of the religious community also paid tribute to the migrants and insisted the country should mourn with the people of Haiti.
We cannot and should not judge anyone harshly who would take a drastic measure to try and make it better for their families and for those they leave behind. Their nationality and their circumstances are not my initial concern. These were human beings made in the image of God.
That we feel your loss. No senti. We sorrow with you. No pleurer avec vous.
There is no Haitian people. There is no Bahamian people. But we all are God's people.
After the last hymn, the coffins were carried out of the building, loaded back onto the flatbed truck, and transported to Southern Cemetery on Cowpen Road for burial. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thank you, Jasmine. Well, a bloody weekend was capped off with a shooting death on Potter's Key Dock late Sunday evening. Jared Hicks tells us it was the 4th killing in 48 hours.
Police found themselves investigating the 3rd homicide for the day when a man walked up to another man at a stall on Potter's Key Dock and shot him before running away. Officers converged on Tall Boy's stall where a pool of blood was visible near the front. The shooting incident, which took place at around 8 p.m., appeared to quell the usually upbeat Sunday evening activities under Potter's Key Dock.
We are appealing to members of the public especially those who were here during the time of this incident, who may have seen what happened or who has information that can identify the person responsible, to please give us a call.
Our News understands the victim to be 24-year-old Jamal Kemp. Family members describe Kemp as a quiet person who was only interested in his business of selling cars. His killing marked the third on Sunday and the fourth in 48 hours. At around 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, a man was shot and killed on Washington Street. Approximately an hour later, another man was shot dead at a business establishment on Robinson Road and Miami Street.
We are investigating these matters. We are actively investigating these matters. We are looking for as much information as possible should anyone have the information to give it to us. But we want you to know that we are still out there on the streets. We will not stop our operations. We will continue to work the streets so that we could bring calm to what may be happening or what has happened over the past few hours.
Asked whether the 3 Sunday killings may have been connected, Superintendent Knowles gave this response.
We are working all of them separately, and should we find anything that connects them, we definitely would bring that information to you. But so far, we cannot determine that they are connected.
Early Saturday morning, a man was killed at a social gathering in a Haitian village off Cowpen Road. According to the Nassau Guardian's records, the murder count for 2019 stands at 10. Reporting for Our News, I am Jared Higgs.
Well, senior officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are responding to the uptick in killings, telling reporters they have seen trends like this before. Police Press Liaison Superintendent Shanton Knowles insisting that they have the strategy to overcome.
It is always a concern when anyone loses their life. We have been in situations like this before. We've came out of those. We depend on the public to assist us with as much information, and we do believe that we will get the assistance and we will find the people responsible for these homicides and bring them to justice.
According to Our News records, there were 3 murders during January. Last night's shooting death on Potter's Keep brought February's total to 7 and 2019's total to 10. Knowles was also asked whether the increase in gun violence warrants an increase in police presence on the streets of New Providence.
Patrols have been increased. We have not stopped our operations since last year. We have flooded the streets with all available vehicle and manpower, and those will continue. I do believe that we can keep crime down, but we are in partnership with the public. So once the public continue to partner with us, I believe that we will be able to keep these numbers down.
In other news, classes are not yet back to normal at Sybil Strawn Primary School following an outbreak of scabies at the school last week. Union representatives were on the campus today and told our news team that both teachers and students were being tested. Jillian Gray has more.
One by one, parents arrived at Sybil Strawn School concerned about how officials are handling the recent scabies outbreak. This uncle said when he arrived, the campus seemed a bit chaotic as no teachers were in the classrooms due to a meeting to discuss the concerns.
I just come to Brigham because the school had a serious outbreak and I don't know the severity of it. So it was only right that I get them from the school, and seeing that they having a big meeting and then they don't have like no other student bodies to say watch the children and everybody just doing their own thing and what's none of that.
That meeting was between the school administration, teachers, and the Bahamas Union of Teachers. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands confirmed last week that students with confirmed cases of scabies were being treated. This as Ministry of Education officials closed the school last Friday. Now, when we spoke to BUT President Belinda Wilson, she praised the principal's efforts in getting this matter resolved and said that administration, the union, and teachers are all working together to ensure that the school environment is safe and healthy for students.
I must say that the teachers and the union were very pleased at the manner in which the principal has dealt with this health issue, because he was in constant contact not only with the Ministry of Education but also with the Ministry of Health and their nurses and their team.
Wilson said when the school opened today, few students were present, and those that were identified as infected were kept in the center courtyard with a nurse while the principal contacted their parents. Despite the swift action, this guardian said they should have taken a more proactive approach from the very beginning.
The fact of the matter is that they know they had a scabies outbreak. The government should have said that, hey, every parent bring a medical to school before the child comes back to school instead of just sending them to school. And then they expecting the children to come to school and now want to send them home and they're ready to school. That don't make sense.
Wilson said health officials are now testing teachers and added that they hope all will be back to normal tomorrow.
The classes are being cleaned by the janitorial staff, and the teachers will be tested. Some were tested last week. The remainder of these will be tested today. So we hope that the testing will be completed today and that the cleaning will be completed, and so that tomorrow morning school will be able to run smoothly.
Up to news time, there were no reported cases of scabies among teachers. Mindful of parents' concerns, Wilson said the school will be meeting with parents tomorrow night to update them on the situation and to educate them on proper hygiene. Letters have been drafted in both English and Creole. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Well, the legal team for former PLP Senator Frank Smith is still waiting for the required papers from the Public Prosecutor's Office for its appeal of a magistrate's ruling. You may recall on February 1st, Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt ruled that Smith had no case to answer in the allegation that he abused his power in the awarding of a contract to Barbara Hanna and her Magic Touch cleaning company. Smith's attorney, Damien Gomez, today said he's heard of plans for an appeal, but hasn't received anything in writing as yet.
They haven't served either my client or me. 7 days has expired. The Criminal Procedure Code requires the appeal to be both filed and served within the 7-day period. They need leave, and we will object to it. So if they wish to proceed, they need to serve the required papers, and we will certainly deal with the application if and when it is made.
We still don't know how much Queen's Counsel Edward Jenkins was paid to lead the prosecution in the case. The opposition has since called it a waste of time and taxpayer dollars. Gomez today also questioned the grounds for which the prosecution is filing the appeal. He called it mind-boggling.
We did not object to any of the evidence, and quite frankly, I don't know what evidence she rejected that they objected to. So I'm confused really when reading some of the grounds, because it's as if they were not in the courtroom and were not participating in the trial.
Now, in addition to dealing with the appeal, Gomez said he has been given instruction by his client to file a civil suit. 3 men taken before the courts today, all charged with murder. In one case, the suspect's attorney told the magistrate his client says he was brutalized by police while in custody. 25-year-old Shaquille Culmer in the black Jordan sports jacket and red and black Jordan sneakers through his attorney Beyond Ferguson told Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt that he was beaten after he was arrested. His attorney told the magistrate that his client says he was hit in the face, stomach, and chest by a police officer by the name of Miller. The West Street man is accused of the February 2nd murder of Randolph James Anderson. Culmer's attorney told the magistrate that his client was denied a request to seek medical attention. According to the attorney, Culmer says he was also told by police officers that when he goes to prison, he will, quote, get his tings. But the magistrate asked for clarification as to what that phrase meant. The attorney then said, where I come from, get your tings meant you're going to get beat up. The magistrate then requested that Culmer be allowed to see a doctor. He was denied bail and returns to court on April 5th for voluntary bill of indictment. Also in court was 28-year-old Rashad Paul, a.k.a. Eyes, in the black hoodie and rainbow-colored sneakers, who was charged with the February 2nd murder of Kirby Jean-Pierre. The widely closed resident was not required to enter a plea and was denied bail. Outside court, his friends and family shouted in the distance, saying, "True God," and "God got you." During his arraignment, the magistrate noticed Paul looking back and asked him if he had family in the courtroom. After he said yes, she then allowed them to have a minute to talk. Lastly, in court was 21-year-old Joel Bullard in the plaid shirt and cornrows. The Lincoln Boulevard resident was charged with the February 1st murder of Gary Leon. He, too, was denied bail and returns to court on April 5th. Still to come on Our News, why parents of CW Sawyers were asked to pick up their kids early, plus some sweet treats for this Valentine's Day. Stay tuned.